claps are out, like snares are in.
Sounds way fancier when you say fisherman.
We got a ghost in the room.
Ooh.
Very Gen Z of you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not Gen Z, but
It's all about balance, man.
Live and direct. Go!
This is Guest List Plus One, live.
You're listening to Guest List Plus One, live, where we have a conversation at the intersection of music, technology, and culture. Welcome to Guest List Plus One. I'm your host, Spencer Zabiella.
and I'm your host, Ant LaRock.
And today we're here with, what an absolute legend, Tyler Morris, a.k.a. Westend. Is Westend, do you want us to call you Tyler or Westend in this?
You can go either.
Okay.
Westend is always a little like not jarring, but I'm just
Can I call you a Westie?
that's Westie is actually the name I have for my fans. I call them Westies.
Oh.
Nice.
Okay.
Westie wouldn't work. You guys are Westies actually. But
Hell yeah, we
as
are.
being a fan of a West End, you're officially a Westie.
I love
Beautiful.
Like, Swiftie, Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah,
same
yeah.
thing,
I
so.
drew the connection immediately. I
Yeah.
love that. That's clever.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Let's dive right in.
We haven't seen you in a while, probably since Spence's studio in
Yeah, in Williamsburg.
2019, I'd say.
Yeah,
Definitely pre-COVID, but I feel like we've been homies almost like 10 years now, right?
yeah, we.
Or like
I mean,
back in the OKNF days, and
oh my God.
yeah, that's what I'm
yes.
saying. Like
Clem.
Clem and
Shout out to Clem. What's up,
and Devin and Mike and all those guys.
dude?
And
The whole gang. Yeah,
Brooklyn gang back in the day. So
it's been a minute.
it's been a
I
minute.
remember Clem.
Yeah,
You know, Clem was honestly one of the
Yeah.
most. He didn't introduce me to my wife, but he was like part of that whole crew, and he was always like the
Yeah.
most optimistic, like fun-loving dude. I mean, he still is. I'm
it's
assuming
really
you just haven't
dope
seen him.
because
You meet Devin James too?
Devin James. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
'cause he-
haven't seen him in a minute, but
Been
like
doing his thing.
that was the whole squad back in the day, and it's Clem had the record label OKNF Collective, which I love because like a lot of DJs today that are like full-time touring DJs like were in that Facebook group. I remember like John Summit on a few like interviews has like dropped that
Really?
Clem and Riffa, and
yeah,
because
Riffa's
we would all
good
just
dude,
like be
too.
on Facebook and sending each other our tracks and giving each other feedback, and yeah, so since then, but
Dude, I remember. So I was just telling Ant earlier. I think it was like in the middle of the pandemic because you had Studio C at Key Needle, and I remember we were like, I'm always passing by. I was like out of my mind because I was trying to run a recording studio without having ever run a recording studio
yeah,
before.
not the easiest job ever.
But I would like pop in and out. I'd hear people's music, and I remember Ant said to me, he was like, "Yeah, he's gonna do it." And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, he's gonna do the thing, like I can tell that he's gonna do the thing. He's much older than me, so
A&R here
I was
over
like,
here.
all right, whatever. I was like, but what do you mean? And he was like, nah, dude, like he's got the momentum, he's got like the sound, he's getting like super mature, and there's like that moment where you can hear, I guess, like everything sort of come together, and then sure as shit you did. So I mean,
I
congratulations.
feel very lucky and blessed. Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of hard work there, though.
Definitely a lot of hard work. I've been doing this like a long time, and it's still like people are like, "Oh, you like did the thing," and I'm like, "Yes, I get to DJ full time and produce music, which is like that's the dream for a lot of people." Like, but it's funny because when you get there, you just start thinking about the next thing and the next
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you're
How much
like,
more
you're
work it's
exactly.
gonna
You're
take.
like, yeah, like I've done it, but like I have these goals on my mind, and I want to get to this next level, which it makes it more interesting because if you were just like, oh, like I can DJ for a living full time now, and that's it, it's like great, but I think like trying to scale it up and trying to become a better producer and all these things, it's like that's why in my head I'm like, yeah, like I've made it so to a degree, but there's still like a lot more work to be done, and that's
So
the
it
fun part.
separates the girls from the women. You know what I mean?
It's
it
true.
really takes a little bit of gall to get out there and be persistent.
Yeah.
But it's also yeah. I mean, we see a lot of people too. I mean, I was just thinking of this guy Jacio. Do you remember Jacio? DJ
How do you spell it?
Jaceo.
Was he a house guy or no?
Yeah, he had like a lot. He was tech house.
Okay. Not off the top of my head, no, but he's a New York guy or
No, he's from Philadelphia, I think, but or no, he's from Colorado, whatever. But either way, he a bunch of these artists that I used to play out all the time, and they were like really big, like very putting out records all the
Yeah.
time, and then I think, to your point, they get into this pattern of exhaustion, and there's like limited sustainability there to continue doing it. So I think the way that you're thinking about it, correct me if I'm wrong, is like, yes, I've made it, I'm very fortunate, but how do I make this like a sustainable, like how can I still do this when I'm 50 or
Or
whatever,
not do this when I'm 50.
Or not do it when
is
you're
the
50.
other
Yeah,
is the
yeah,
other
yeah.
angle there.
Well, you
but
could be a Danny Tenaglia,
the other thing is that like I think the pandemic like really shook things up, just in the electronic music scene, especially in the US. Like you had a lot of people that were just kind of like long-term players that like weren't able to adapt, so to speak, and like at the end of the day, it is like a market. There's a supply and demand, and if like the demand goes away, it's like, even though you could have been the hottest thing ever at one point, like I've just seen so many artists like lose their careers from
Yeah.
not being consistent for like, or just kind of not being out there for a very short period of time, like a few months. Like things can go south, and I really love what I do. I love the freedom that it brings, and I just love the job. So like in the back of my mind, I'm always like, how do I keep this going? Like, I don't want this to end. And the other part of it is not just like that kind of like job security, so to speak, but just trying to like be a better artist. I think that's one thing that like
that's the drive.
you can learn how to be a really good producer, and that takes forever. And even when you become a really good producer, it's like, well, how do you become an excellent producer? But one thing I think, especially for like DJs and electronic music producers, that they don't like teach in a YouTube tutorial is like how to be an artist, like how to find your sound, how to figure out what inspires you, how to create a brand. And that's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. And I'm like, there's so much more to do there.
Right.
Cause like the production stuff was like, there's still a lot more to do there, but like, I feel very comfortable there. The artist stuff it's very interesting to me, the marketing, the branding. And so I'm kind of like pursuing that a bit more now.
Was that your background beforehand? What did you do before you were a DJ?
No, I worked in tech at this company called Yext. It was
Okay.
like oh my God, like a SaaS company. So I just
So
did.
you went from startup.
Yes, it was like I was there
Production?
before it IPO'd, and then it IPO'd, and yeah, we worked out of Madison Square Park. It was a pretty big company though. It wasn't like it was like hundreds of employees when I joined.
Right,
So it was
right,
like a
okay.
startup, but it was big. So yeah, I worked there out of college, and then in college I studied public policy. So like completely different realm to like music or business or anything
This
like
was
that.
at Duke, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
They had like a really good public policy school, and basically anyone that like didn't want to take econ and do all like the math classes, like you would just do public policy because it was like
Fair.
more
Checks
political
out.
science. So yeah, I had like the tech background, but it was really just like a lot of like Excel and Python and little things like that.
Not as
Okay.
technologically exciting as they like make
Yeah.
it seem in like Silicon Valley.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I played a lot of Super Smash Bros. At that job. I got really good at Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I didn't. I'll say this. I didn't work too hard. I was like coming in at 10:30.
Cruising a little bit?
Yeah, I was like cruising a little.
Well, you were preoccupied building your
Exactly. I was
DJ
coming
career.
home from work and like trying to open up Ableton
Grind
and
out
just
some tracks
make
and-
tunes. And then like the reason why I quit was because I started to get like a few shows outside of New York. And granted, this was like really like small kind of like collective parties here and there where I would be like the first on the lineup and stuff. I remember like I played in Detroit one weekend. I had like a Dirty Bird camp out. I went there and like all
Nice.
this stuff. And it was just like getting too much to like go try to do a show on the weekend and like come back.
So yeah.
I did like a Croatia Holy Ship Fam or something like that there. It was like,
Right.
so I was like, I'm going to try to do this full time. So I quit, and I haven't looked back since.
Do you have any other things that you do outside of music that are, that's like kind of core to who you are?
Yeah, for sure. Like I'm a
Like
huge,
fishing?
yeah, I was going to say, I thought you were asking about other like business ventures. I was like, do I have
No.
anything?
I'm just thinking, and the question that we had before was, is it kick and bass or kick and bass?
It's, it depends who you're asking, you know?
Yeah, because there's a fishing interest in here somewhere too,
Yeah.
right?
That actually,
Hook,
that
line, and sinker.
Well, we'll get into how that name came, but yeah, I'm a huge fisherman. It's something I picked up later,
Sounds way fancier when you say fisherman.
as opposed to what?
That's a really great question.
Yeah, I don't know what
I
else
go
to-
fishing.
Yeah,
I go
I'm a
fishing. I
huge-
go fishing.
I'm a
That's what I
huge
do.
fishing guy.
Big fish guy.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't sound as professional, but
Yes,
I
big fisherman.
I started fishing when I was a kid with my dad in like Montauk. That's like one of
Nice.
the fishing kind of, I would say, capitals of the U.S. Like especially for surf casting, which is like when you go in the ocean and you cast these lures out.
Okay.
So I was into it as a kid, and then I stopped for a bit in like high school because I was like, fishing is lame. Like I just want to party and drink and smoke weed.
Pretty
And-
much what
yeah,
happens
exactly
around
right.
16.
And then you become an adult and like all those boring hobbies as a kid and start not becoming
you
boring
golfing yet?
again. I don't golf. I play tennis.
Okay.
My manager golfs a lot, and it's like when
It'll get you one
he
day.
meets someone else and they start talking about golf, I just like tune out because I'm like, I don't care.
You got tennis a little better.
Yeah, tennis
pace.
and fishing are like my white guy hobbies. Like I can't add golf to
You're
the
interested in
equation.
different clubs.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you find it like off the back of that, like you're touring a lot, you like have a really healthy release schedule, you know, production always takes time, you're running kick and bass gotcha. And like you have a full schedule.
Yeah.
What do you do for balance right now? Let's start it with this.
Yeah, that's like, I would say the last like 2 years is when I really felt like I figured out like balance between all the different like the business stuff and the hobbies. A lot of it is like time management and just like kind of just like committing yourself to do things. Like this summer I played in McCarran Park, which is like a park in Williamsburg here. They have like a tennis like ladder challenge, and I was like, I'm just gonna like sign up for this. It's,
Nice.
you challenge other people on the ladder, you go up in rank, you go down in rank, and it's like just like committing to doing it and then like following through, playing these like matches. Same thing. I play a lot of basketball. I was like in a basketball league, but like feeling just like a normal person most of the week and like not doing, you know, a lot of it has been I don't go out as much anymore. I used to like be at the Brooklyn Mirage, you know, rest in peace, like every weekend and like go to see all my homies, like DJ. Part of it was because I was like, oh, I got to network, I got to meet people, I got to get my name out there, and now I'm kind of like, I'm just doing my own thing. Like I don't need to
I mean, thank God you got it done when you had the energy for
exactly.
it too.
It's like I'm a little bit older now, the hangover sucks, so yeah, like the balance has just really been there, like at the home life and kind of, you know, working out, like just finding all these ways to stay healthy. I've also been meditating for the last, I'd say, year and a half. I learned from Yolanda Be Cool, Matt Handley, who's one half of Yolanda Be Cool, and I do this meditation called Vedic meditation. It's pretty much the exact same. He'll probably kill me for saying this. It's not the exact same as, have you heard of like transcendental meditation?
Yeah, of course.
You get like a mantra, you kind of like sit twice a day for 20 minutes, you say the mantra to yourself, your mind starts thinking like, oh, well, what should I eat for dinner tonight? And I got to go to this podcast later and blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, you're like, oh, my mind's wandering. You kind of go back to the mantra. So I've been doing that twice a day, 20 minutes. And it's been like huge for staying.
Twice a day for 20
Yes,
minutes?
yeah.
That's commitment.
I missed a few. I've almost done it every single day. There's some days I've only done it once a day, but
Can you do like a quickie, like a 5-minute one? Or?
that's like, you really are supposed to do it as like a 20-minute kind
Okay.
of thing. So I don't really like do it unless
You can
I'm
commit to the
yeah,
full
I'm just
20.
like, oh, I got 20 minutes.
I've never done it, but he does the
it's-
Wim Hof.
Yeah, I'll do the Wim Hof at least once
Is
a
that
day.
that's more like a breath work?
It's a breath work one,
Yeah.
but I mean, you could incorporate like the clearing of your mind with
Yeah,
it too. I
like
mean,
a-
and that's
like a
one thing
mantra.
I always had to do for like any sort of balance. I
Yeah.
mean, we've been running this company for almost 4 years now. I still produce like
Great.
quite a bit, whether it's for me or other people. But like,
We got a ghost in the room.
yeah.
Uh-oh.
Ooh. But yeah, like finding that balance is just hard. I think it's just a part of any adult life. But like when you factor in, okay, you could be a regular person. Well, we can't count Monday because if you're traveling until Sunday,
Yeah.
you got a sleeping day. But like Tuesday through Friday, it's like a pretty regular schedule for you.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like I'm not like the most scheduled person either. Like, but I just know what free time I have those days, and it's like, you know, having meetings with my co-founder of Kick and Bass who lives in Denmark, so it's like there's like a time difference there, and I cook a lot, and it's like it's just like I end up like making it all work, but it's like I don't feel like the DJ part of my identity is like my only identity.
Yeah.
Which I also feel is like very dangerous to have that be like your main conception of yourself,
I think
because
it's, yeah.
imagine you know, you fall to irrelevancy and it all goes away. It's like if that's all that you kind of assign your worth and value to, it's like it can be pretty damaging to people. So
You know who has a good Mark Ronson has a really great. You were talking about artistry before.
Yeah.
He has a great brand as a person.
Yeah.
Who happens to be a phenomenal producer and DJ. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
his whole thing, and I feel like you're sort of heading down that path as well. It's really difficult to do that because you have to be really good at sort of a few things, but you have to be an interesting person on your own, like you were saying, without being just a DJ, you know?
Yeah. And that's like, I've been listening to some, there's a guy who's like a really good like social media music marketing guy. He has like a podcast. I'm forgetting his name right now, but he had he went on someone's podcast, this like manager's podcast, and they were talking about these like archetypes of people. There's like the Joker, there's the explorer, like there's a whole list of all these things, but like in any story or something, there's like, you know, you have these like different archetypes, and I was like, well, what am I? Like, I'm kind of like the Joker a bit. Like, I like to, you know, like when you think about DJs, like Fisher is like the Joker, like that's his brand, and it's like very clear. But then I'm like, I'm kind of like, I feel like my brand recently has been very much of this like guy of the common people, kind of like to a degree, and there's like a transparency
for
there
the people.
for the people, because it's like I just am like a normal dude that has been making music for a while, got like decently good in some areas, and like, you know, a little bit of luck and like made it happen. And like that's kind of what I want to like show other people, is that like you don't have to like put on a crazy mask or
right. See, but you actually kind of calling yourself out as like a leader a little bit, right? And I would say like as far as what the community you've built, because like you said you're a Leo, you were just had a birthday recently?
I am a Leo, yeah.
Yeah, it's like strong leadership qualities. I only know this because, you know, my girlfriend like hits me with
There's a lot of DJs that have Leo birthdays. Maybe it's because like I'm noticing it because it's like my birthday month, and there's probably some, there's like a bias there, exactly. But yeah, there is like a leader aspect to it, but it's very much like a horizontal, like kind of like leadership.
You're putting yourself on the same level.
Yeah. Like one thing that is driving me crazy now that I do is like I try to respond to almost every single DM I get. It's gotten like to the point where I can't do it anymore.
I don't even do that to my family.
But yeah, exactly. Like if you look at my phone, I have 0 unread text messages. Like I'm very much like, I don't know. I just feel like if someone's asking you a question or just like trying to talk to you, it's like, no, it's important to try to, especially as an artist, like if you're a fan, like try to get back to them. Obviously, it gets to the point where it's like you can't do it at a certain point, or that's all you're doing. But yeah, just going back to those like kind of archetypes or roles, like I felt like that's like there is one that's kind of like that person of like the common man, and I feel like I relate to that a lot. So like when you said that like Mark Ronson example, I don't follow him like too closely. I mostly just know him from his like music, but yeah, I'm like, when it comes to hobbies, I'm like averagely good at a lot of different things. So it's like I kind of just like that vibe. It's like, oh, like here he is like fishing, and then he's like surfing, playing tennis. It's just like what the fuck are you doing? Like
fisherman, not a professional surfer. But
exactly. But that's what for me, that's what makes life like so fun, is like just finding little things that you like to do, and it's like you know. I have some DJ buddies that all they do is like music and touring like 24/7, and like maybe some of them are super happy, but I much rather have some balance in my life and like, you know, maybe not be in the studio 24/7 or on the road taking every show 24/7, and just be like happier, because for me, I mean, that's life, right? It's like the most important thing, to be happy.
When you make music, are you making it for yourself, your peers, or your fans?
Introspective question.
That is a good question. I would say a little bit of all three. I think
if you had to pick one
of like what I would prefer to do, or what am I actually doing?
What you're actually doing. Gut reaction.
What were the it was fans, peers,
or yourself.
Gut reaction, I would say historically has been my peers. I would say going forward, and I'll give you an example, it's been more for myself. But like when you're trying to come up as a DJ, the most important thing is to get support from other DJs. That's like, to me, the unique thing about electronic music that's different than like rap or like rock is that within the genre itself and the fact that we have DJs that play other people's music,
Right.
you have this like connection. It's like country music, like no one's like playing the other country music songs or like rap, right? It's like you're just trying to build your own like artistry in yourself. That's why I think it's so hard for electronic music artists to be unique, because there is this like, I want to be supported by Skrillex, I want to be supported by, you know, Dom Dollar, whatever it is. So throughout much of my career, it's like, oh, well, how do I get to the next level? I got to get a track signed to Dirty Bird. How do I get on Dirty Bird? I got to make a track that Claude Von Stroke's going to want to play. So it's like you are making music for your idols and your peers.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have things like Beatport and like the charts there. It's like, you know, everyone wants like a Beatport #1. It's like, how do you get that? It's like you make a song that every DJ in the world wants to play.
Right.
A lot of times, if you try to make the song that you think every DJ in the world wants to play, it's not the one that they actually want. So there's a trick to it. But
that balance is a really hard one to find. What am I happy putting out my name on it? It's going to tick the box for the label, and other DJs want to play it.
And it kind of like works with what sound is working right now as well. I think that's one thing I've been very good at, is like figuring out what is the sound of the times a bit, or like the elements that make that, and like adapting it in like a unique way. Because you got to kind of like, you don't have to, but for me it's like you have to stay relevant a bit with what's going on in the scene. Like right now in tech house, like everyone's just doing these like offbeat bass lines. Like no one wants to do. It's like
last year it was eighth notes.
Yeah, it's still kind of like eighth notes, or I think it started more of like the 16th notes, like the melodic techno stuff.
Eli Brown or whatever.
Yeah, Eli Brown, and now it's like offbeat, like eighth note kind of stuff. But like no one's doing the like 2020, 2019 like tech house like kind of bass lines and things like that. So you can still take whatever you're into and like kind of put it on the foundation of like what's working now. And that's just something I feel like I've been able to do.
It's a unique talent to be able to weave all those together to make it work for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's just kind of listening to a lot of music and being on top of like what's going on, and then you have to have a good ear to kind of like dissect stuff. But when you ask me that question, am I writing music for my peers, myself, or my fans? I have a song coming out in a month. I don't know when this podcast is gonna be out, but I have a song coming out soon called Lighter, and I really wanted to make something that reminded me of like when I first got into electronic music, which for me was like around 2010, 2011.
Prime Dead Mouse Swedish House Mafia.
Exactly. So
you
like
said Justice is Cross.
Justice was like the first kind of like, especially like album where I was like, oh my god, this is insane. Cross.
Still insane.
It's still insane. I have it downloaded on my Spotify. I listen to it when I don't have service like all the time.
Talk about timeless.
It's an incredible album. But I was like, I really wanted to make something that just like brought me back to like those days of high school, and Dead Mouse was like huge for me. And this next record that I made, it's like I literally made it like because I wanted to make something that felt like I remember Dead Mouse Cascade, but with like more of a 2025 kind of production on it and feel. And it's my favorite song I've ever made. And
really?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, you heard it here first. You better all those DJs out there better.
Yeah, it's not. But that's the thing. It's not a song that I expect other DJs to play, because it's not. It's not like a club banger, which like I usually make. It's like more of a. It's definitely like a dance record, and like can be played in like clubs and festivals. But it's like, you know, I feel like if you're another DJ, it doesn't have like a big sample in it, or like.
Is it a good like cruiser in the car?
Yes,
like
100%.
Listening, like top, summertime or fall, early fall.
Exactly. It's like,
yeah.
But you could dance to it at the club, but you could like listen to it on your own. And I've had a few DJs like I've sent it to support it, but it's not like I expect this to go #1 on Beatport. But
the nice thing is,
I don't care about that.
I was gonna say you won't care.
That's what I'm saying.
A few of those come out over the last 10 years, and those will be the ones that have like the real pride points. Like, that's the record. It sounded exactly how I wanted it to.
Yeah,
I feel good no matter what happens.
Exactly. Like I really wrote that record for myself, and because I was like, oh, I could just easily do another like club record that's gonna have like a big catchy top line and whatever. But I'm like, I wanna, especially now that I'm like starting to have like more fans, that it's not just like peripheral fans that are like, oh, well, we're a fan of like Dirty Bird or whatever, like this sound, and it's like we just know about you. It's like people that are really like excited by my music. It's like I can take that risk and like make something that's not for them but for me, but hopefully they enjoy as well.
Yeah.
And so that's why I like this. I feel like I'm shifting in my career a bit to like doing more of that. I'm still gonna write like club banger kind of stuff as well, but it's all about balance.
I
You know? It's
rely
a
on
little bit
that.
of everything.
What are we
I
gonna
feel
DJ
like.
if you don't write any club bangers?
Exactly, you know.
gotta-
Well, I feel like you and like Max Styler and a lot of the stuff you've been pushing like over the last 2 or 3 years, you guys really carved out. I wouldn't say it's its own genre, but like, or even subgenre. It's just like an amazing sound that like play off each other really good
Yeah.
in that
And
segment of the market.
It's fun.
Like I feel like you guys influenced a lot of the change that happened like with Insomniac and like, you know, this a bit cross the pond sound with like the UK and stuff. Like were you conscious of the way you were moving that, or was it just part of your sound and like ticking the box for
It was
you?
interesting because like I'd always been a big fan of Max. Even like before, I would say the last few years, like he's been making music for a really long time, like in the EDM space. I always thought he was like a sick producer. And then he was doing some really cool stuff in like the kind of like tech house space, but it had like more of like a kind of like techno influence to it.
But
It was-
almost a little disco somehow
yes,
sprinkled
yeah.
in.
I mean, it's all like a lot of like Oliver Splice top loop drum samples and yeah. So we did a record together called like Rhythm Machine that kind of had this like big robot vocals, like vocoder kind
And
of
that
sound.
was on Insomniac too.
That was
right?
on Insomniac, and yeah, we did that record. There's also a lot of like indie dance influence kind of in tech house.
It's those
Yeah, yeah.
snares.
It's the snares. Like I even put this on my predictions for 2025. I'm like claps are out, like snares are in, and
It's true, and I never thought I would fall
open hi-hats are out as well. It's all about like the shorter, tighter, like
808.
Yeah, like,
what's that tune that Jamie Jones did with is it Boy George or something?
Oh, I don't know.
There's there's a really great one that's just like all 808 drums, and it's like such a such
Yeah.
a sick.
Well, I think
production.
when you're a newer producer, it's so hard to get an 808 kit to work in your dance track like perfectly, especially like from the snares to the
Yeah.
kicks to the hats. And then when you start to get comfortable and like, especially when you exploit the shit out of like a tech house sample pack or a 909 pack, like, and you start falling into that, like it's got its own taste, but when you get it to work, chef's kiss.
Beautiful.
It's interesting how like it's just like little things that change. Like I was like saying that before. It's like the snare versus clap or
Mhm.
the hi-hats. So yeah, there's like a lot of like in like the Solomon's label, like dynamic,
Ooh, killing it.
like killing it,
Killing
and
it.
like that sound got really popular here, and like I think Max has done a really good job of like taking that sound and making his own sound with it and influencing a lot of people because he's just a fucking sick. He's like a super sick producer.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I it just kind of like naturally happened. I think the other thing that is like interesting is that as an artist, as you start to play like bigger stages and like better slots at festivals, like sometimes the music that you're either known for that you made or like the stuff that you've been, you know, kind of repping for a bit may not work on those stages.
Right.
And you see that with artists, they get really big is like, you know, maybe they're like playing more like groovy kind of like tech house. They start
same thing always
playing
happens.
like the main stage because they get so popular for like a song or social media or whatever.
It doesn't play.
And then it doesn't really work, and like that audience wants to hear something else, and so their
Yeah.
sound naturally changes as you get bigger. I see
feel
it with
like-
everyone. Like,
Oh, with everybody, it
Everybody.
always kind of converges like to this harder sound. Like it happened with John Summit, who got popular off a disco
yeah, harder
record.
909s and definitely kicking differently.
Well,
Yeah.
go stand in front of 5,000 people and then be like, "Here's my new disco sample record."
I mean, Mochak does it really well. Like
He's
I
just
saw
on,
him
he's
in
on a
High,
maniac tip.
and he was doing some crazy. Or he
yeah,
was High.
there's people that
Can't remember
like
what
it. I would say it doesn't apply to
DC.
everyone. That they're able to keep, you know, the sound that, you know, and it's just really hard to say because like people change sounds for a million reasons, right? And just the times change, so everything changes. It's not like this artist is, you know, but there is like an objective, you know, things want to be probably like faster and harder when you get in front of more people and like on a bigger stage. Like
I'm
it's
guilty of
just
that.
it's just the way things go. And the other thing is that when you're playing for more people, you have to assume that not everyone in that crowd is like in the scene or knows about like electronic music or raves
They
or
want something
your
accessible.
genre or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
like just it's a statistic. The more people you have, the more people that, it becomes more commercialized or more just what's the word I'm looking for?
Homogenized,
right? So it's just like kind of works out with the statistics there.
What do you for people listening at home? Again, this podcast is like definitely has an audience of some aspiring artists and producers, music entrepreneurs, people building tech in the space, a bunch of blockchain nerds for sure. What kind of takeaways do you want people to have who are listening to this right now in terms of music specifically, right? Like producing a certain sound, or how seriously should they take themselves if they want to get into music production?
Yeah, I think like now is, out of like all the times in human history, the easiest time to become a music producer, just with like how cheap it's become to buy equipment. You don't really need anything other than a laptop probably, and a Splice subscription. But also just like the knowledge out there, like even just 15 years ago, there's definitely like,
computer music and
I'm
future
young.
music.
Yes,
and
I'm young, and if I talk to someone that was started making music in like the early 2000s or the 90s, they're going to be like, there was no resources then. Like, you had to just figure it out yourself. When I started, there were resources, but it's not like it is nowadays. But I mean, that's kind of like what I do with Kick and Bass, is like we help people kind of like start and continue their music production journey and like learning how to be like a music producer. So if you're like listening and you want to be a DJ, you want to be make music in any degree, it's like just go on YouTube and look up how to make this, how to make that, how to start. And there's a million tutorials, there's a million people that'll kind of lead the ropes for you there.
You can overcomplicate things, right? Really quickly.
Yeah.
Just from picking a sound on a synth or, a VST or something, to trying to figure out what is my sound, to any of that stuff. So where do you start?
I think almost on like a meta level, it doesn't really, like, whatever advice I give you right now, everyone's going to fail to certain degrees. Everyone's going to overcomplicate things. Like, that's just like kind of part of the music production journey. Like, obviously you have to like, you're going to start, you're going to open up your DAW that you download or you illegally download, like whatever it is, and you're going to start like, making a loop and making a beat. And it's like, I think the things, you don't really even need to worry about anything. If you want to be a music producer, you have to do that and fail at that and get better and whatever it is for 10 years. It's like that's the real way to make it, is that you just have to start and then kind of figure it out along the way. Like doesn't matter if you don't have your sound at the beginning, if you don't know what you're doing, if you're doing things wrong. It's like everyone does that to a degree. I would say that is one of the biggest misconceptions, that people need to like have a unique sound and figure out like what makes them different than everyone else.
And a logo,
that's actually
and a thing.
What was that?
And like a logo and like being almost
and a name and cool press shots and all this stuff. That's actually the least important thing that, for an artist, especially in the beginning. What you want to focus on in the beginning is actually getting good at like the technical parts of music production, training your ears, understanding how a synthesizer works, understanding songwriting and arrangement and tension and call and response and like all these things. And once you get good at that, then you can kind of sit down one day and be like, okay, I can kind of like make music. Like, what do I want to do right now? Because chances are that when you started making music, the stuff that you're into is probably not going to be the same as when you end up getting good at it. And I see every single DJ and artist that I know, they all change their sounds. They all, they do this for 2 years, then they're like, oh, actually, I'm actually into this, and then they scrap that and they're into something else. And that's just part of the process. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying before about like finding out how to be good as an artist is different than finding out how to just be good at Ableton or music production.
Yeah, being really sound with like the tools you're working with. Like, you would never like be somebody like a contractor and not know how to use a hammer. That's
exactly
the way I've always put it to people.
Yeah, you're not building like, you got to learn how to build a house, or you got to, I always have cooking analogies for music production, like assembling a burger. It's like you got to get really good at making just your standard cheeseburger before you can like start getting into unique hipster burgers or whatever it is. It's like, and I think Dom Dollar said this is like one of the best things he did when he was like, I don't know, early on as a producer, is just like recreating other people's tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can get really good at recreating a song and like understanding all the different like layers that it takes to make that, you're gonna naturally develop the skills that you can then use to be creative and make your own unique thing.
Yeah. That's super smart.
There's a famous quote that I heard a long time ago. I think somebody asked Picasso, like, "Hey, will you teach me to draw? Will you teach me to paint?" And he said, "No, but I will teach you how to see." And that's my biggest thing whenever, like, because I work with people more on a one-on-one basis for teaching. That's why I've always appreciated what you've done at Kick and Bass. It's not about so much where the rubber hits the road. It's about being able to hear. It's like, you're not going to make a good track if you're not picking out a good kick drum.
It's very true.
Or the good snare or clap, which are out, by the way, 2025. But like, if you could hear, and you could hear like, oh, this bass line's like, that's an FM, like, okay, you're going to know how to like start to construct it to get towards there. So I think hearing's probably one of the bigger components.
It's hard. I agree with you 100%. And it's the thing that is difficult for me is that it just takes time for your ears to develop. There's definitely some cool neuropsychology about like the way we can hear things and the brain. I don't know too much about how that works, but I do remember there was like a point in time, I don't remember the exact moment, but I remember there was a point in my career as a producer where I felt like something just kind of like clicked, especially when it came to mix downs. I was like, I can kind of like hear when something's too loud now. Like I can hear the balance between sounds, or I can hear panning. And once that kind of happened, like I couldn't even listen to music the only way I would be able to listen to music was like I would like start to see the project file in my I'm sure every producer can relate to this, but like you hear a shaker come in on your right ear and you can kind of like see the pan knob turned and you can see that and that's where I feel like my ears are they've become trained to a degree, but you have to put in like the hours and hours to really like understand and hear that stuff. Like this, I don't know if people listening know what like compression is. It's like a music term. Like that's something that's like,
you're not gonna hear that for a good
you're not gonna hear that for a long time. And then even when you think you're hearing it, you're not like it can be so subtle. It's basically the difference between the loudest sound and the quietest sound is the dynamics and volume. And like that stuff, and that's the thing that like I feel like music production tutorials, like they're always like, you need to compress this, and I'm like, that's probably like the least important thing for like you to be telling like a newer producer is to like understand something like that. So
I think Michael Brower said, he's a famous mix engineer, obviously for those people at home though that don't know, and he said something like, someone asked if you could only have one plug-in, what would it be, and he was like EQ.
Yeah.
Because that's basically all you really need.
It's that stuff. You can filter with that. You can do everything you need. But like that, you have to like fail as a producer and like try to like learn all these like techniques and all these things to then come out the other side and be like, oh, it's actually really simple, and like the pros aren't really doing anything different than me. They just have really good ears and they have really good taste. And those are just things that like you kind of have to develop on your own, but it's still important to learn like the technical side of things. And the way I really got into it originally was I went to a school in New York City called Bronx Science. It's a public school, and one of the alumni is Robert Moog, who invented the Moog synthesizer, which is like there's probably one right here. And so his daughter like donated this digital music lab, which was a classroom full of like 30 iMacs and MIDI keyboards, and like the Reason was installed on all these. So I took a class.
That's a rough start.
Yeah, exactly. I took a class in high school called Digital Music Lab that basically just like kind of taught you how to use a digital audio workstation, which was Reason.
Like 15, 16?
Yeah, this is probably like 16, 17. This is maybe like junior or sophomore year of high school.
Nice.
Or junior or senior year. And then I was already listening to electronic music at the time, like Justice and Deadmau5. So I was like, oh, I'm gonna flex on everyone in this class. Like I was already like teaching myself how to make mashups at home. So I was like, I'm gonna be like that annoying kid that's just gonna like get good at this.
That's funny.
And there's actually a hilarious photo in the Riverdale Press, because Riverdale's a neighborhood in the Bronx, and it's me with like Reason on the computer screen, and like I have my Justin Bieber haircut with like a mouse in hand, and it's like student Tyler Morris teaches other students about ADSR, like
Oh, sick, though.
something like that.
ADSR. Keep
That's
it
like
PG.
that's like kind of a win for 16. I mean,
But that this class, it was so ahead of its time. Like it taught you, it's like, okay, this is what a subtractive synthesizer is.
Wow.
This is an envelope. This is a LFO. This is like, it kind of like explained with a little bit of like physics, like what these concepts are. Like what is sound? Like you have like amplitude and frequency and all this stuff. And so that's kind of how I learned music production. And then it doesn't, teach you everything, but
having those solid fundamentals, I got lucky too. I had a really forward-thinking music teacher in high school, but this is in 95, 96.
yeah.
But we had like a really similar thing. I think we had like pro audio back then. But to get that jump on it and just understand like, yeah, what an envelope is, what is subtractive synthesis, whether you understand it or not, like having those like building blocks, I think a lot of people miss those nowadays. And it's like, because you can't just jump on a splice and be like,
exactly. Understanding that, it's just like really important to understand, and it really helps you understand other concepts later on in like your music production career. So that was like my start, and then I kind of like self-taught myself on YouTube, and in high school I did lessons with another like producer from New York, but I had to get off Reason because that thing sucked.
There's some cool features still, but yeah,
it didn't
for tracking.
so I think I switched to Ableton in like 2016, and I never looked back. But that's kind of how I got my start. So there was like a music kind of technology component, and I think going to like a very science-based school really helped. But without like I just don't even know what like school curriculums look like now. Like I don't know if like kids even have the opportunity to find like an interest in that, because I think even if it's like a few kids are taking, like let's say a bunch of kids take the class, even if just a few of them are like, this is really cool, like that it changes people's lives, and it's like maybe that's what they kind of go for as a career.
Yeah, that exposure to something new. Absolutely.
Exactly.
Worked for us.
I want to ask you.
We're
I want to
here
ask
now.
you a couple questions about building community, because something that's I think really interesting about your career. Ever since we've known you, you've been really good at networking. You've been really good at making people feel included, and then you sort of scaled that. In and of itself, that's a great business principle. But you do that, authentically. You're not doing it for for malicious reasons there, and I think it's really cool. What do you think it takes to build a community? Because I think it's kind of different today than it was probably when you first started your career, right? It's like much harder. There's more noise. How do you crack that code?
Yeah. A lot of times I feel like you don't build a community necessarily with the intention of building a community. It kind of just like happens, and it's usually because you have some quality about yourself that attract people to you. So like when it comes to Kick and Bass, which is my kind of music education platform, that started because during the pandemic, I needed to have a separate stream of income. There was no shows. I was on unemployment. I was fishing all day. I had nothing to do. I was like, all right, I gotta stop playing Animal Crossing and like go do something. And someone asked me, they're like, oh, could you like teach me? Could you get on like Zoom and like help me with like my project, or like, can you give me like an Ableton lesson?
Huh.
And I was like, I don't know, man. Like part of me was like, my ego was like, well, I'm a DJ. Like I don't need to be doing like these lessons. And then part of me was like, am I qualified to do this? Like, I don't even like, I need to look up some stuff myself. Like all the time. Like I was like, oh, maybe I'm like not qualified to do this. But I ended up doing this like Zoom session with this guy who ended up actually hiring him to become a coach later on.
Oh, cool.
And I started doing like lessons all the time. I basically like put on like this blazer and like these nerdy glasses, and I was like, Tech House 101 is open. I did like this like Instagram post for it. I was like, hit me up if you want to book a lesson, $50 an hour, like let's go. And it was pretty cheap, I think, at the time, and I had a lot of people hitting me up. So from like mid 2020 to like early 2021, I was doing a shit ton of lessons all week. Like, you know, some days like 4 or 5 hours, which is a lot of time to like have your headphones on, listening to other people's music, talking. Like I would have sore throats.
Oh yeah.
But I'm getting a sore throat right now. Like I was talking like all the time back then. And then one day I was like, I can't keep doing these lessons. Like I actually stopped being able to produce my own music because I was just listening to so many amateurs like
Oh, and then you're getting
shitty
burnt out
music,
on
and then
all
you're just like
music.
lose like the creative juice a bit. So I was like, I kind of had to stop. And I got an Instagram DM from this guy named Freddie in Denmark, and he was like, hey man, uh, the other thing I did was I put out a YouTube tutorial because I saw John Summit put out a YouTube tutorial. I was like, oh, I could do a YouTube tutorial. Like that would help my brand a bit, like, you know, some free content, whatever. So I did this tutorial. It was like how to make a tech house track in 1 hour, and it kind of like blew up like just naturally.
Well, I
and-
remember seeing John's, and they were like a little bit more shorter viral, but yours was like the
Yeah, mine was
full-on
like I'm
production.
gonna open my
Comprehensive.
yeah, but like not for advanced producers. It was more of like I'm gonna open up like a blank project file and just like make a full track in an hour and kind of explain everything. That's the one thing I think I'm good at with teaching is like really explaining the why and how
The
of something.
concepts behind it. And
Exactly.
Principles of making
So
music. Yeah.
this guy hit me up and he was like, "Hey, I've seen your video. Like, I'm in this Discord community from this guy like DeMarzo, I think he's a producer out of the UK, and he's like, I really like the community, but like there's a bunch of things like I would change about it. We could make it better. And I see you're like a good teacher for Tech House, blah blah blah. I think you could be like a good like head coach of this." I remember me reading this like super long message, and I was like, I'm like, oh, this is gonna take so much work.
out.
Like, I gotta like do all this crap and whatever. But I was like, part of me was just like, oh, fuck it. Like, let's just try this out. If it doesn't work, like whatever. Like, I'm gonna have to record a bunch of videos beforehand, and worst comes to worst, I just like wasted a few hours. And we ended up. He actually came up with the name Kick and Bass, and the reason why we call it Kick and Bass is because with most electronic music, but especially like house music, that's like one of the most important parts of the song is your kick drum and your bass and the way that they work together. And it's something that a lot of producers struggle with, getting the mix right on that. And there's a lot of like information. So we call it Kick and Bass. We launched it. It's a Discord community. And I remember the first day, like 35 people signed up, and it's a paying membership. So it's not like you can just join for free. It's like you pay, you get feedback on your music, you get access to these tutorials, you get this like niche community. And I was like, oh my God, this is sick. Like 35 people like want to join. Today, I think we're at like 600 members.
Damn.
Wow.
So
Cool.
we've really grown it. But going back to your question of how do you kind of like create a community, it just like naturally kind of like happens. Like you need to give people something, I think, for free, especially. Like you can't expect people to, especially if you have like a paid community or something like that, you can't really do that. You have to provide value to people, and you have to
Before you can charge them.
Exactly. You have to provide
Yeah.
like value. You have to create like a feeling of like inclusion. It doesn't have to be. You can have exclusion as well. Like you can be like, oh, I want to be part of like that group, right? But like for the people that are there, that needs to feel a bit like a family. And I think for us, like building Kick and Bass, one of the reasons why we've been able to like be successful and stand out is like we don't like bullshit people. There's a lot of like music education platforms that's like, oh, come join our course or come watch our videos, and like, you know, all our artists are signed to these labels and they're playing ultra. So it's like that's like on the first thing on their website is like, you're like, yeah, if I just pay
Meanwhile,
like
it's like a burn 'em and churn 'em program where
Yeah,
100 people
exactly.
leave with nothing at the end.
it's like if I pay this $3,500 for this 10-week course, I'm gonna like, you know, get a slot at ultra, which I just find like super just like disingenuous. And our approach is very much like, look, becoming a music producer is very difficult. There's a lot of things that you need. You can't do it in a year like to be a successful one. I mean, maybe you can, but it takes like a long time. So we pride ourselves on that like no BS kind of like aspect to teaching, and I think a lot of people
Good. People
appreciate
need to hear
that. Yeah, people need to hear it, you know.
It's a long road. It's a difficult journey.
Yeah.
Like you said, it doesn't have to be. I always tell people you don't want to put a glass ceiling over yourself. You never know what could happen.
Exactly.
But, you know, to get to the level like where you're at, it does take the 10,000 hours. It does take kind of knowing like what FM or subtractive synthesis is. But I think you guys, first of all, I think outside of your community, you're providing a huge value. Like, I watch the videos, right? Like, and I've been doing this for close
I
to
watch the videos too, man. Like
they're fucking sick.
We have coaches that I'm like, I never knew that, you know, and some of these coaches I think are better producers. So basically, it started off with just me as like the guy.
You were doing all the content.
I was doing everything. I was listening to everyone's music. I was giving written feedback on it.
Damn, you did bite off a lot.
Twice a month. I was making all the videos. It was a lot of work, but eventually I was like, this is not going to be sustainable, but we want to grow this, you know. So we've hired other coaches that, you know, are professional producers, whatever that means. But like for us, the big thing was like, these are people that are releasing music under an artist project name that are, they're definitely going to watch this and see me going professional producers and get offended. But I meant more professional in the sense that like you can't really
define what a professional.
Yeah, exactly. That
producer
doesn't
is.
really exist.
It's not.
Anyone can
jab.
say they're a
I get
professional. Yeah, a professional producer. But we only kind of hire coaches that we feel like are into the sound and scene that we're in, that, you know, have releases on labels that are getting supported. Because I feel like a lot of people on YouTube, they know and understand how to make music, but they don't really have maybe that artistry background.
Well, there's always kind of
yeah.
and this is where I always had a hard time teaching somebody. Like, those who can't teach is like the old phrase, right?
Yeah.
And like, and I think that's where I always had a little bit
Those
of an
who
ego.
can't teach.
Yeah, something like that. But
Whatever it is.
You get the point. But yeah, like there's that little bit of like ego where you're like, oh, okay, cool. Like, but I think it's really important to go out there and show people that. And so, like, you guys provide so much more wealth of knowledge to a larger community of people than like just the people who are signed up to your Discord. Like,
that's a big part of like our I mean, it kind of works in like the business marketing strategy. I mean, we started this company and I'd never started a company before or knew anything about business. And if I were to go back in time, there's a lot of things I would do differently. But like part of that's part of
like what?
there's like little like legit like when we set up the company, we didn't even have a contract or any understanding of like who owns the business or anything like just like little things like that. And then you're like 3 years in it and you're like, oh, we should probably like
set up an LLC.
Yeah, like set up a business. And you know, we had a business set up. No, I mean, like we didn't fuck up like royally in that sense, but like
it's just the little things you don't account for.
Yeah, like I didn't even know what like a marketing funnel was. I still kind of like I'm understanding it, but like we never ran like one ad for this business like ever. Like there's just so much I would have done and a little bit differently. I would have maybe built our own platform earlier on. That's something that we're working a lot with this company called TrackStack, which is
for submitting demos.
Yeah, so they're building something out really cool called TrackStack Studio, which is like helping. I hope I can say this. We're gonna have to figure out if
we'll get it approved
discuss
before
this.
we
Yeah,
launch,
we'll get it approved. But it's basically like a platform, kind of like Patreon, but more for like electronic music producers to monetize their wealth of knowledge, etc. So we're kind of like moving a lot of like our community features, like our video tutorials and our track feedbacks that producers can get feedback on their music from through their platform. But you know, anytime you like build a community, it's like, what platform are you going to host that community on? Yeah. We're on Discord, which is great because Discord has all these features and it's like you don't want to spend money rebuilding Discord, but there's a lot of like custom things that we wanted to do. So to answer your question, those are some of the things I probably would have done differently. I forgot where I was going before this. We were talking about providing value to not just the people that sign up for Kick and Bass, but for others. So yeah, like a big part is putting just out free content on social media, whether it's like production tips or tricks, or on YouTube. We upload a lot of the tutorials, like snippets of it to YouTube, because that's how I learned how to make music, was just by watching some artist or someone like teach me something. And I think it's important to like give back.
Do you do free sample packs?
We do, yeah, we sell sample packs, which is like kind of like a different part of the business, Kick and Bass store. But
I have some.
Dude, the sample packs are really fucking good.
They hit.
Yeah, I didn't make the sample
I
packs.
want some.
I'll send you some. but especially the Alchemist Volume 1 through 3 are
I think
like,
that's the one I have. Yeah,
dude, like some of the just the presets and the samples are really good.
Well, that's actually how I got turned on to you guys. It was like I think I watched
Probably
well,
Morgan was the guy probably maybe in the
it
video.
was, yeah, and then I got a rack. It was one of your racks.
The Ableton racks, yeah.
It's fucking sick. I was like, this saved me so much time. Like, especially when like you're trying to like process the bass and stuff.
There's some really, there's it was called the Groove Generator. It was basically like an Ableton live device where you could press a few buttons and you would immediately have like a MIDI with like a synth, a randomly made synth that's like within controlled parameters.
You got that wub bass one too. That thing looks sick. I haven't gotten that one
You
yet.
made this Max for
I
Live
didn't
device?
make this Max for Life device, but someone on the Kick and Bass team did, and
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, and
A lot of stuff. Yeah, man, you got to check it out.
I think we took it off because there was some issues.
Too much groove.
There was some legal issues with it, but yeah, I'll send it to you. And yeah, Morgan, who is one half of this production duo called FOMO, is an Ableton wizard and a sound design wizard, and he's no longer with Kick and Bass, but he's doing some really cool stuff under Cracked Records. And yeah, if you're like an Ableton guy, check out some of his Max for Live devices because they're
Insane.
pretty insane.
Okay.
Yeah, they kind of changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, again, I appreciate like anybody who's giving back to like a production community like that because, the reason I asked about sample packs, it's like when you're just starting out, and especially if you're not like hip to Splice yet, like getting that first sample pack is like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like your first real album that means something to
Yeah.
you. You're gonna use that thing to death.
Yeah, I remember back in the day before Splice, it was like you would only have a few sample packs because you just didn't have access to. You had to buy them or you had to like torrent them or whatever.
We'd get the free little sample packs off
Yeah,
of like
you had
Loop
like
Masters.
those 10 ones, and I remember I like cracked like all the Vengeance sample packs like back in the day, and it's like
That's the one
they-
that everyone was
they
sharing.
become your babies though. It's like you kind of know where everything is, and I think that's a really big part of like people's sound. A lot of times they're like, well, how do I get my own like unique sound? And for me, what I tell people is that it kind of naturally comes just through your workflow production as a music producer or as like an artist. Like I'll give you the analogy as an artist is like if you have these kind of paints and these kind of colors and your paintbrushes look like this, and you know you like to do your strokes like this, et cetera, et cetera. It's like naturally over time you're gonna just develop your own style by just repeating kind of your same habits. And the same thing is with like music production. It's like maybe like every time you're trying to do a build up in the song, you always use this like reverb preset, and you always just do this because it's fast and easy. And it's like you do that 100 times, and it's like okay, you know. And then you broaden it out to like bigger concepts like call and response and tension. And it's like how do you approach those things?
That took me a while. Call and response. I didn't realize how that's
Important,
just like
yeah.
and you know employing this pattern of tension and release. I was
Yeah.
like, that is everything about dance music. And
It's the foundation of it pretty much. And
but I always wanted to like drive that loop, so you get stuck in loop land where you're like, yeah, this is banging so hard, and then
Yeah.
you're like, I don't want to create the tension. I just want to release the entire time.
I mean that's the like the part of being a music producer is like you learn all this stuff, and then like you realize that all the really good songs are super simple, and they don't like
Super simple.
they're not yeah, you have to kind of like unlearn a lot of things and like break bad habits. Like this for me, it's like I tend to add more shit. Like it doesn't sound good. Like let me add more top loops. Let me add more layers to this.
That is like a human nature thing with
Yank
production. You're
gets-
like, it's not working.
Yeah.
Well, Spencer sent me a project sometimes.
put
Like,
more
what's
salt
with the
on it or
7
whatever."
hi-hats? Yeah, exactly. That's the cooking analogy. Just dump some hot sauce on it.
Yeah.
But it's actually the stripping back of it. Like we were saying earlier too, like the ear training part of it. But the thing I always try to remind people though, it's like this is music. This is like what we have to hold to our core, I think, as producers. This is music to party to. This isn't like a put on Sunday morning and listen to jazz and have dinner with your family. This is for people to go out to, be hedonistic, forget their problems.
Yeah.
And when you have that mindset and that approach to it, it does become a lot more simple.
And no one gives a fuck on the dance floor about any of like the intricacies of your project or this or
Right.
whatever. All they care about is like, does this sound cool or not? And I think
Yeah,
that's
did
what,
he group his drum
yeah,
tops?
exactly. Did is that a splice sample that he used? I
Danny
mean,
Tenaglia told me once, he was like, if there is no groove, there is no record. And I was like, yeah, obviously. And then I like thought about it and I was like, huh, you're right. And it was like, if you don't have like that great dynamic between the kick and the bass, it's just like, because at some point in the track, basically he was saying, take away your claps or your snares if it's 2025, take away like whatever loops you have going on, whatever the theme is, and then just kick and bass. Does that rock on its own? And if it does, you got a record. If you don't, then,
Delete.
start over, try and move on.
and
you
and
know
a
what
lot
I
of
mean?
times getting those things to work, it's like that's what you want to be like the most simple but like effective part of the record. And
Yeah.
like that's why when I start a song, usually maybe I'll have a vocal sample or an idea there, but then the next thing I'm doing is like I'm trying to get that kick in the bass, like because that is going to be the foundation of the record. And that's why we call it kick and bass, because it's just so foundational to dance music. But sometimes I hear records from newer producers and they blow up on TikTok or whatever, Instagram. And a lot of times it's because these newer producers, they're not like overcomplicating things. And I've heard records that from a production standpoint, I'm like, this sounds like shit.
Yeah.
Like the mix down is shitty and just has like this very like lo-fi feel to it. But like that's a sound people like. And
Yeah.
a lot of times people just like resonate with that, or they don't.
Well, remember the first time you heard Prada?
The
By Ray
oh
and Castle?
yes, the kick is like all fucked up, and
I was like, this is garbage. And then a month later, I was like,
yeah, you're
this is
singing
fucking
it.
genius.
Yes,
And it's because no one overcomplicated the process.
100%.
Sample, boom.
Yeah,
Well, I was gonna say we could sit here and talk about production shit for ages, but I
We'll
want
get
to
into
get
that.
back on track on one thing because
Yeah.
we have limited time with you. I want to know, I want to know everything about you as an entrepreneur, because entrepreneurship is not just limited to your DJ career. It's not just limited to kick and bass. It sort of is just like, in who you are as a person, right? And I want to ask, how do you define success for yourself?
that is a good question. I think for me, like every year I kind of sit down at the end of the year and I'll get a Google Doc open, especially for my artist project, and I'll kind of like write my goals like for the next year. And a lot of times those are
Manifestation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not even for manifestation, because I'm not like super into that, like when it comes to like you envisioning yourself or you're writing it down every day. But I think it's important for me to be like, well, what do I want to do? Like, and actually think about that and set aside time. And for me, the success is not necessarily like just checking off those goals, but what I've kind of come to is it's for me, it's really about like that balance that we talked about before. Like that's the most important thing. I think as you get a little bit older, granted I'm 31, but I'm starting to realize that like time is the most valuable thing
Wise words, man.
in the world.
Yeah.
And it's pretty priceless. And so, money's great, but the best thing money can do is like get you time. And for me, just I if I were to be on my deathbed tomorrow, I'd be like, I feel very successful. I've found balance. I've been able to do the things I love, and that's kind of like what I'm doing right now. And it's just about like continuing that and growing, and there's other components to it for me, especially like giving back to people. I think a lot of times I'm like, oh, I just sold out this show and there's 1,000 people, and like, yeah, it feels great, but like that kind of lasts like a day or two. But when I like sit down, I'm like, damn, I've really like helped a lot of people get better at making music, or inspired someone to like start making music. Like that's the kind of more qualitative kind of like successes for me, where I'm like, oh, you actually had an impact. Like you went to the show and someone's like, I watched your YouTube video. Crazy story was like, I remember I was going through my Instagram DMs and this guy was reaching out to me and he was like, hey man, like I watch your YouTube tutorials, like you're a great teacher, like or whatever. And he was like one of the dudes who created Instagram, like the founders.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
This guy named Kevin. That's his Instagram handle is just Kevin, because he literally
Right.
like he could
Wow.
just pick his handle.
That's
What up,
And I was
amazing.
like, damn, that's like kind of cool. Like, you know, I've you know, these videos have kind of made its way in the internet galaxy to these people. So a lot of times it's not just like the quantitative stuff, it's like the qualitative
Yeah.
ability to like affect people's lives. And I want to keep doing that and growing that. And I have a record label now called Trace Amounts, and so
Yeah, tell us about that. When did that launch?
that launched at the end of 2023. I was like, I want to start my own record label, partly for like owning my own masters and entrepreneurship of, you know, not having to, just having more control over my music pretty much.
Yeah.
But I also, all my favorite artists have record labels. I was like, I want to throw parties one day, but maybe I'll throw a festival one day. It's like all these like cool ideas that you have in your head. It helps to have a record label for it. So I was like,
Sure. Yeah.
I started it.
Continues the community aspect of what you're
Exactly.
building. Yeah.
You know, they like there's merch, like there's so much cool stuff you can do with like a record label. That's a little bit different than an artist project. So we started in 2023. I think first couple releases were just me, and I think we're at like maybe like 25 or 26
Nice.
releases now. And yeah, we got like a little team going, and we're working with Create Music Group for distribution. So
Great. They're awesome.
yeah, and one of the great things about a record label is that you can really like help other artists' careers, and it's not like giving back because it's, you know, you're doing a deal with an artist to sign their record, but it's just really cool to see people like excited to like want to try to get their track signed to your record label, because I remember being like that with my favorite record labels like Dirty Bird and Repopulate Mars, and
I mean, in a way, it's still kind of like that.
it's always like that. And that's kind of the cool thing about electronic music is like all these artists have record labels, and it's like you want to be on that guy's team and play his shows and stuff. But that's something I'm really looking forward to, is like being able to help grow other artists' careers and be involved with that, and help them. I've even had like random thoughts about like being in music management later in life and stuff.
Cool.
And
It's a great idea.
yeah, I like the music industry a lot. I like the business aspects of touring and all these things. And so
Yeah, you seem really positive about it. Like, and this isn't. It's just it's a compliment. Like, it's really easy to be jaded, I think, in the music industry. I think
Sometimes we're a little cynical.
Yeah.
We try and peel that back a little bit. Not because we're, you know, assholes or anything, but just because we work on the tech side, and so it's frustrating to see artists and
well, mine comes from the artist.
labels get okay. Well, we see artists mostly getting, you know, effed over left and right, trying to make a living. You know,
it's like when you said like I'm optimistic about it, or positive about it, I feel positive about it. I mean, I'm on a podcast right now. Of course, I'm not trying to be like Debbie Downer about things. One of the things that I do like kind of does bum me out a little bit, and I don't feel guilty for it, but you know, I work. Kick and Bass is all about like helping artists get to the next level and growing their careers. And like we said, like we don't promise anything, but there's so many DJs right now, and it's just like you're not all gonna make it, and that's
Totally.
that's the hard truth.
that's the hard truth.
And it just keeps growing and growing, and it's you know, it's less and less people that I think are going to be able to.
I saw a Guardian article yesterday that said, I had to stop raving because I had a bunion, so I became a DJ.
Wait, what?
It said, I had
it's
to
a real
stop.
article.
I'll show it to you on my Instagram. I had to stop raving because I had a bunion, so I became a DJ instead.
It sounds like an
you
Onion
went
article.
from like I have a bunion, I'm a DJ.
Well, so because they couldn't, I guess,
Prophecy comes
dance for
Yeah,
the
so
whole
they-
night, so they went to.
Well, yeah, just try standing on your feet for hours
yeah,
as
it's
a DJ.
not. It's no
that's
easier.
worse.
You probably dance more doing that.
That's
I couldn't.
funny.
It was absurd, but I think you said it earlier too. Like the barrier for entry is like so easy to get in on the production side, on the DJing side.
Yeah.
That the market has ballooned out, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think we just get like a larger, like a higher amplitude bell curve, right? There's more music, but there's more better music as well too.
Yeah, and I think we'll see also. I mean, we've talked about this, you know, exhaustively on the podcast, but with AI, I think that all of the good aspects of musicians that are truly artists are going to kind of rise to the top, because there's a human factor, an authenticity, something that like cannot be recreated
Yeah.
easily.
Your vision and your voice are going to become like more important than ever, and like what you stand for in your brand. Yeah, AI is like a crazy thing.
Yeah, what's your unadulterated opinion about it?
I haven't really gone down the rabbit hole with AI and music like too much. Like I've used some different like platforms that are
Like
just
Suno and
Suno.
UVO.
I've used the first time I used Suno, I was like, oh my fucking god, like we're fucked. Like,
Same thing.
and then I never opened it again. Like since then, I was like, oh, I'm gonna use this to create stems and all this shit.
You'll if you used it more than twice, you would start to wildly see the limitations.
Yes,
that are
that's
on
what
it.
happened. I started using it a bunch, and I was like, this. And the space that I'm in, you can't make a good AI. I haven't heard like a really good AI club track.
Oh, it's
yet.
coming though.
I assume it's coming.
Well, it won't be like supremely excellent because I think a lot of the great tracks are imperfect and super simple.
Yes.
And they're like not really all that polished.
Yes.
But AI is also getting better at imperfections too.
That's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wanted to ask, like, so you built out a successful community and platform with Kick and Bass. It seems like it outreached even what you would expect it for
Yeah.
at this point. Where do you guys want to move to next?
We want to grow the community in like a way that makes sense. That was like one thing when we first started. We were like, oh, we don't want to like grow too much because we're gonna lose that community like kind of family feel. But we've kind of figured out a way to like preserve that, within this like Discord group that we have. So we definitely want to grow it, and we want to just kind of like improve the product itself and the features that we can like offer our members. We really want to be like a place where if you're a music producer, you can join us and you kind of have like everything you need, from like learning the music production to the samples to understanding like marketing and how to grow a brand, like all these
Very
kind of like
valuable.
resources. So it's that full artist picture. We're doing Kick and Bass Records, so that's going to be a record label kind of run by the community, where we're only going to be putting out music from members of our community.
Wicked cool.
Super cool.
Just because we've seen so many really good artists like come through Kick and Bass, and like I don't know if graduate's the word, but like they would like learn from us and get successful as an artist and get their music signed and become like full-time touring DJs. Like we've seen that happen a lot, and so I think there's a lot.
They mature.
They've matured,
Yeah.
and like that's for us, that's our goal, right? That's the whole point of Kick and Bass, is like we want artists to get better and go achieve their dreams. But we've seen like a lot of like really good music just kind of get signed to other labels because we didn't have a platform to put it out.
Right.
So we're starting Kick and Bass Records, and I think that's going to be really cool. And I think it's going to be interesting because there's not really like a record label that I know that's run by a community. It's like either run by like an artist, or like there's like I guess like collectives like will have like record labels, but we're like an online.
Still some gatekeeping there.
Yeah, and we're like an online digital community, so I think there's a lot of cool things we can do from our members to help support the people that do get their track signed. And it's not going to be like a beginner label either, where it's just like, oh, this is your first track ever, like let's put it out. Like we're putting out good quality like club tunes from our
Nice.
members. So yeah, we're really excited about that.
So basically, you could walk somebody from day one of production to, releasing and being on tour. So you're going to cover the full spectrum of
Yeah, I
somebody's
mean, we're not
career.
going to promise that you're going to play all these festivals or shows, but like someone could like join, learn how to make house music through our tutorials, get feedback from our coaches, maybe book some one-on-one lessons with our coaches, kind of rinse and repeat that for a while, and then maybe they make a track that we really like and we put out their first track. Like that, for us, that's like really cool. That's kind of like, because otherwise you're just joining and you're watching tutorials and there's no path, there's no end point to it. And I think having that included in the community is going to be like a differentiator.
I mean, I've sent people over to the platform just because it's
Appreciate it,
so
man.
helpful. I
Thank you.
use it. Like,
I'll get you in there. Make sure you're not paying for a subscription.
No. I'd like to pay. I like
Yeah,
to
we
support
saw.
this
I
project.
appreciate
This
that.
is it's well worth the money. Even 30 years in, I'm still learning new stuff every day,
Yeah.
and you know that. I did want to ask,
Yeah.
like, so you covered what's next for Kick and Bass and where you're moving the platform towards. So what's next for Westend?
Yeah, so I think I'm kind of at this like not like pivotal moment in my career, but like I'm really trying to get to the next level, and it's not easy.
What is the next level for you, or in your mind, what would be?
There's like there's a quantitative answer to that, right? Where it's like, oh, well, if I'm playing shows in 1,000 capacity rooms, it's like I want to be playing shows in 25,000 capacity rooms, right? So or it's like if I'm making this much money per show, I want to make this much money per show. So there is like that aspect to it. But then there's also just like the intangible stuff of just like, I'll give you an example. Like some artists are so big that they have fan pages of them on like TikTok, right? It's like think about any pop star like Sabrina Carpenter or something. It's like
Right.
you're gonna have a million people just making content about you just because they're like obsessed with you. It's like, and
Right.
there's some like electronic artists like that. I was like, I see that kind of stuff. I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like when you don't even have to make your own content. Like people just make it for you, and it's like, no, it's
like
actually
this.
like incredible because it's like a loop where like you literally don't have to do anything. You like people just take videos of you,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it just
yeah.
like goes right. I'm like, well, how do I become an artist like that? Like you probably need a lot of fans, and there needs to be one that's crazy enough to do that. And it's like it's just like a numbers game. So there's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
little things, and then there's like other things like you want to collaborate with this kind of artist. Like I would love to have an Armin van Helden collaboration before I die. He's a legend, and like that'd be sick. It's like how do you get to that level? It's like, well, you probably have to have a pretty big name for yourself, and whatever it is. So
And also
I'll connect
have
you
the
up with
ear
X
of
Mix,
that.
by the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
what's that?
I got your back. I'll connect you up with X Mix.
Okay, who's X Mix?
They been managing him like from the beginning. I got your back.
I've met him a few times, and he's like the coolest fucking dude ever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's still
Super
the
nice,
G.
super cool, and I just love his music.
Yeah,
But
he's amazing.
so you're asking me like what's the next level? Like it's all these things kind of like running in my head, and it's like I have my team, my management team that I work with, and it's like I want to be more successful for them too, and like he's like one of my best friends, and all these kind of things. So that's like really where I'm at is just like kind of like figuring out like what do I need to do to like make that happen, while still staying true to myself and just growing. And a lot of it has been like writing some more music that's like not just club focused, like the song Lighter that's coming out that has this kind of like Dead Mouse influence. And also just like working with more producers is another thing that I had to kind of get used to because I was an artist that only really worked out of his bedroom for his whole career and never really worked with anyone else. And just the idea of like working with a co-producer on a song
Yeah.
and their name not being on the record was
Yeah.
like a kind of foreign concept, and it definitely felt like maybe icky's not the right word, but like a little bit.
No, dude, I get that. I was just in Ibiza with Tom Starr. Do you know
Oh
Tom
yeah,
Starr?
so the guy I work with, he's really good friends with Tom Starr and their whole studio there.
Is it Mark?
No, this
Mark
guy Luke
Maitland?
Moss.
Okay, yeah,
He spent like a week there with like Gorgon City and all this
Star
stuff.
player, yeah.
A star player.
Yeah.
He showed me some of Tom Starr's samples. Insane. Like,
Yeah.
but he's like.
Well, he's exactly that guy. I worked with him for a couple of days, and it was the same thing because I used to do that for other people at Key
Yeah.
and Needle, and it was like, I mean, there are tons of records that I've been on that I'm like not credited on or
Yeah.
whatever, but it was just like fun to be in the studio and working on these things, and that's what paid the bills. You know what I mean? But
100%.
it makes you. I mean, sitting with Tom, he just had a different approach to how he got to the hit record.
Yeah.
And that's why he's written so many hits. And we were, bullshitting about all these different records. And I was like, oh man, remember that one that, Mark and I put out with, whatever. And he was like, dude, I sang on that. I was like, I'm in the background. I'm like, oh, you were the guy in the background. I was like, that's so cool. So, I mean, like, I get where you're coming from on that. But it really, I mean, for sure is, it pushes you into different areas that you haven't been before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so much of this discourse of like, especially just in electronic music, where like you have to do every single thing on the record yourself, and you have to mix it and master it and make every single piece. But like half of records are presets that people didn't make and samples from Splice, so it's not like you did everything yourself anyways.
Right.
But that was like something that I had to kind of get like used to, and I'm like, you just make so much better music when you collaborate with other people. So
Yeah.
I've been collaborating a lot. And
Anyone that we should look out for? Anything you can tell us That's you heard it here
well,
first.
I've been actually writing a lot of original West End music, but I've been collaborating to write that original West End music. Is what I'm saying. So,
Oh, I see.
yeah, I have a really cool record with Side Piece that's coming out before the end of the year. Never worked with those guys before, but they're both really talented producers who've been doing this for a long time. And yeah, I have. I'm a big edit guy. I like to make my remixes and edits, and so. I've just been making. That's like one thing I've been using AI for. Is like there's this website la.ai. It's like a stem splitter, and it used to be so hard to make remixes back in the day because the fucking acapella would sound like shit. There'd be all these artifacts.
There would be like some drums on it. And
yeah, exactly. And this stuff's not perfect still, but it's so much better. And it's like any producer can make a remix of any song, like any song that they like, as long as they have a MP3 of it. And to me, that's so cool, and that's why I think we're seeing so many cool like remixes and samples and edits and stuff. So I'm always working on edits, and yeah, I have a lot of music like kind of like saved up for next year, but I'm just trying to figure out like what I want to do with it. And I, especially with the song Lighter coming out, I'm kind of like want to see what the reaction is to it.
Is that coming out on your label?
That's not coming out on my label. That's coming out on Insomniac Records.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sometimes like a lot of people ask me that. They're like, oh, well, you have a record label. Like, why would you not? Like, why are you putting out on like Experts Only or Insomniac, like all these things? And part of it is like you do have your own record label, but there's just like more resources sometimes going with other artists or going with other labels, and it's also fun to like switch it up.
Well, it's like each brand or each label has its own pocket of fans and its own set of eyes. So it's like if you're constantly going to release, let's say on your own label, you're hitting your fan group.
Exactly.
It's also curation too, right? I mean, like your label has a sound the same way that Experts Only has a sound.
Yeah, this isn't a club record, right? So like it didn't totally make sense to come out on Trace Amounts, and yeah, I have like a long history with Insomniac, so I wanted to give them another record. But yeah, I'm really excited about that one, and just kind of want to see like what that does for me in my career. And it may not do anything, it may do something, and kind of I don't like to plan too far ahead. I like to be like 4 to 5 months ahead.
Cool.
Anything more
pragmatic. I like
yeah,
it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, next, future.
Yeah.
Well,
so wait, hold on. Before we wrap it up, do we have a rapid fire section?
Yeah.
I love a good rapid fire.
We do. Okay, so we usually like to hit our guests off with a little rapid fire section, so you can kind of shoot from the hip.
Very Gen Z of you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not
we're
Gen
subtracting
Z, but
15 years from your age by doing this.
Do you know what?
You have no idea.
Do you know? Wait, hold on.
I am 44 years old. That is
looking great for 44.
Thank you. Before I start getting my AARP benefits, let's hit you with these rapid fire questions, all right? So, first track you ever dropped that really made the crowd lose it?
Dropped as in
like played in your DJ set,
and lose it as in
they like just bugged out and you like noticed like, wow, that fucking hit.
It's got to be my remix to You and Me with Local Singles, the Disclosure and it's an edit of a Flume track, of a Flume remix of an original song. Yeah, it's very complicated.
Gotcha.
But I still play that song every set, and it always
every set,
and it always goes off for the last like 3 or 4 years now.
Boom, beautiful. Do you have these?
No, I don't have. They never give me the rapid fire ones. I'm just not fast enough.
I read fast. It's okay.
Oh yeah. What's a DJ fail that made you like laugh or cringe? Where you're just like, oh, this is terrible.
Yours or somebody else's?
So I was DJing in Miami, and this is a few years ago on my birthday at this club called Treehouse that doesn't exist anymore.
I remember.
And these bottle girls come out with a cake on a platter. It was like not a Carvel cake, but what's that grocery store? Like a Publix cake or something like that. Yeah. And my manager just got me this like white linen shirt for my birthday. It was like $300. I was feeling like a boss. And so this is like 3 a.m. or something like that. And they come out and it has my name on it, and they give me the cake. And I was like, oh, it'd be so funny to like pretend to Steve Aoki this cake into the crowd. So I like kind of like go like that to like, and I'm like right next to the front row. And then as soon as I do that, the cake, it was so hot in the club that the icing at the bottom of the cake melted.
Just
so
acted
the whole
like WD-40.
fucking cake dropped, slid off the thing, like hit my shirt and fell on the ground. So now this nice white linen shirt that I have has like red and blue icing on it. And the worst part was that there is maybe 30 seconds left in the track.
Oh,
so
no.
I'm standing there. I have to find the next track and mix it in. And I'm just like, oh my fucking God, what did I do? And it was really fucking
And you
embarrassing.
like had it all over your
I
face.
basically, my cheeks turned red. I was so embarrassed. And I just was like,
I mean, after that, you really don't have too much to.
yeah, I
worry
was
about.
like, I'm an idiot. I'm a fucking
Yeah, you
idiot.
could train wreck all the transitions you want after that.
I got the transition off, but yeah, that was pretty terrible.
All right. Well, I think you answered this one, but we'll maybe ask for somebody else besides AVH. Who's your ultimate collaboration? Any artist, any medium, dead or alive?
I've been listening to so much Daft Punk. I think it's got to be Daft Punk.
That's usually.
I
my
mean, it's a
go-to.
classic like electronic
Damn.
music answer.
Homework or
but,
Discovery?
Probably Discovery.
Yeah, I'd have to.
I think they made. I just found out recently that I think they made all of Justice's music.
No,
That's not
I'm
true.
gonna call BS on that.
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure.
Alright.
Somebody made all of Justice's
There's a
music.
funny skit where their Justice is an interviewer is asking them that question. They're like, they're like, yeah, Daft Punk, they made all our music and stuff like that. But
Oh, it's not true.
It's not true.
No, it's, yeah. They actually are Ableton whizzes too.
They're sick.
Are they?
Yeah,
I mean, the music is so sick. It's
It's all samples and shit, but it's sick.
it's that album still holds up. Did
Yeah.
you like the new one?
I did.
Yeah, it took
I
me a
did.
minute, like maybe 2 plays through.
Yeah.
Never Ender.
Oh, amazing. I didn't edit that track. I love it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need that too.
I'll send it to you.
All right, here.
if another if not DJing, what other creative outlet would you be going through?
If I wasn't a DJ, I don't think it would be a creative outlet, but I would probably be like a marine biologist. I found
Hard
an old.
pivot.
I found it. Yeah, exactly. I found an old notebook as a kid, like one of those marble kind of whatever notebooks, and it was like, what do I want to be when I grow up? And it was a marine biologist, and it was like a shitty drawing of me with a fish. But
Damn,
I
that's
just
awesome.
I love the
You
oceans.
got half of it, right?
What? Yeah,
With the
exactly.
fish.
I love the oceans. I love marine life. I love surfing. Like, I think something with the oceans, and maybe I would do like a creative thing, like where I do some like catch fish and like take their skulls and make like I don't know.
Artwork out of it. Or
I've seen people like reconstruct the spine of a fish, like with
Ooh,
just
yeah.
like the cool stuff you can do with that. So I don't know. Maybe I would do that as a creative outlet. But
I love
Very
that.
Yeah.
nice. And then, what's your go-to late night snack after a set?
if I'm in New York, definitely halal food.
Which cart?
Which cart specifically?
Depends where you're at. I don't like the ones outside the Brooklyn Mirage. I never really ate at those ones. But in Williamsburg, my favorite one is the one right on North 7th, right in front of the Bedford L train.
Oh, that's where
There
the
was-
burrito truck is
That
too.
taco truck.
The burrito truck's like,
Dunkin' Donuts, right?
it's yeah on the
Yeah.
other side.
On the other side.
That's my favorite. There was a yellow truck, like a big one that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
there,
yeah,
but
yeah,
now
I've
it's
heard.
an Indian truck. But yeah, probably halal food or like McDonald's. Like if I'm a lot of time I play like frat parties and there's like nothing open and like that's what you're in like Ohio or some shit. That's when you're getting like
That's probably the only thing you
get
can
the
do.
Big Mac, that's it.
McDonald's. Yeah, McDonald's.
Well,
All right, you heard it here first.
yeah, you heard it here first.
Well, thank you, man. I mean, we
is
really
super fun,
appreciate.
man.
Yeah,
Tyler.
Yeah.
Honestly, so awesome to have you on, and like, I mean, everything that you've been saying today has been, I think, inspiring for a lot of people, and people that are listening at home are going to be like, or maybe they're in the car, whatever, you know, they're going to be like,
On the subway.
I don't know, I should become a DJ, or maybe they're aspiring to be a DJ, or maybe they're building a music platform, and I think there's a lot of great takeaways here that people will
Yeah.
be able to get inspired from.
well,
so
it's really
thank
good to
you.
hear you moving towards like happiness and moving towards like really what your like either your life or your career or your health or you know what success means like to you and like really leaning into that and moving towards that. And I think that that's like kind of the story we really wanted to tell today. So thank you again.
Thank you guys for having me. Yeah.
You're
it's
a
all
good
about
guy.
balance, man.
Yeah, it's all about balance.
That's the takeaway.
Just don't start a tech startup if you want some balance in your life.
Yeah, balance, and then you're like,
Fuck my life. Fuck my life.